Up, there you go. So hello everyone. I will share my screen right now. Step one. Okay. So today we'll be working on this project. So it's a to-do list application. You might recognize the Trello Kanban look to it. The idea is to, like, with after hours, to build applications that you know and probably love. So the first time we build a Shopify dashboard. This time we are going to build a Trello lookalike, and we'll see what we'll build next time. So the focus today will be on JavaScript and manipulating the DOM. We are going to build a to-do list app, and we will be also looking at the drag and drop feature that you may have seen a few times already across the web. So yeah, let's look at the app quickly. So a very simple app. There is no responsive on the desktop. You can add a task, then the task get added to the backlog first, and then you can move it to the to-do. On review, you can add other tasks, and then if you want, you can even like redistribute it. So like you can like and then yeah, you can have fun, and you can also delete tasks. That's pretty much it. Seems simple. Hopefully it is, and you already have a good idea of how you could be doing that. If not, we are going to see in the next hour and a half, hopefully. We'll try to take a break, about 5 minutes, half. We'll try to make sure I take my time, so you can actually follow along and coding along. That's the goal here. On that side, I've shared a link to my GitHub repo on the Slack WEBEU After Hours channel. Does everyone is okay with that? Have you been able to download it? So I will just let you guys 1 minute to make sure you are on it. So the master is the solution, so try not to look too much at it if you want to be a code along. So clone it and do not fork it if you want to fetch it as I go along, and go to the branch after hours. Okay, can I have a quick thumbs up to see if you guys are ready to go? Okay, awesome, great. Before we start, do we have questions? If you do, please unmute yourself, and yeah, just ask me a question.
Sorry, what branch should we go on? Because
after hours, so this one.
Yeah, I did live server, and I think I have the full solution because I can add tasks and move them around. So maybe.
Okay, yeah. So you have to check out. So if you just clone it, you will be on the solution. You first have to git check out to the after hours, and then do live server. All good, Isaac?
I'll try and do it now.
Okay, no problem.
Because I'll show you like what I did. I'll send this into the questions thread.
Okay.
That's the command, right? The git checkout B after hours.
No, just git checkout without the B.
Okay.
Like when you do B, you are creating a new branch. Yeah, like Martin did.
Okay, I think I created a new branch then, so I think I have to start again.
Okay.
All right.
Exactly, Matt. Great. Anyone has more questions? And while I'm talking, Giacomo will be also looking at the Slack channel and will be able to answer a question as we go along. So please ask away. So yeah, so we'll be building this. So you have seen it, you have it on Netlify. So let's just go on the actual repo. You should have something like that with just Todo. Yeah, all good. Okay. So yeah, we'll have. So the first thing you need to do is make sure you have Let's Watch compiler running. So you run the command. I will send you the command right now. And then once you are done with this, you can run live server.
I'm sorry, why do I have the old file like already set and everything?
So after you have, so now you have cloned the repo.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so now you have to do git checkout after hours. So you have to move to the branch that is not.
Okay, I don't complete a new branch. Okay, nice one. Thank you.
No, you don't have to create a new one. You have to go to the after hours branch. So look at in the Slack channel, Martin put the actual line. So it's git checkout after hours. I will pass it. Yeah, I'll git reset on after hours, like Matt said. Okay, so let's start. We'll look at the design first. So I've created design into Figma. So this what you could have in a project. Sometimes you will have just a PNG, hopefully not. Sometimes you will have a PSD. Sometimes you will have a sketch file. So Sketch is only on Mac right now. We'll probably go to the web soon. But I'm using Figma, and I just send you the link to Figma. So this is where I build the design, and this is where we will be able to see different information about it. So if you want to look at the different pixel, like the 8s and other information about it, like if you want to look at the font family here, you even have like some code snippets that you can take information from. So that's pretty neat software, and it's free to start. So it's a great tool. Yeah, nothing to say about that. It's a great tool for UI, building UI for web and mobile. Question about that? So you should all have the file. You are in a viewer, so you won't be able to change anything, but you will be able to see like all the different settings and parameters that you need to follow along.
Fuck.
Okay. All good. Okay. So let's rapidly look at the HTML. So right now, not much. I've just created the header. So we have a burger menu. Added a small search, so the title and a user picture. If you look into, let me just move that around. Up. If you look at the less file, so again, just to make sure, never touch the style.css, only touch the style.less. So the first thing you might find is that I imported a reset less file, which come from here. I'm sure you are familiar with that. On that one, like everything on there is done. So you won't have to do any CSS or less in that case. That's not the goal for today. The goal for today is to like work on our JavaScript skills. So yeah, up and app.js. And so if you look on the app.js, I've removed everything. I tried to add some comments, but I will add to it directly like while talking. And yeah. So the first thing you can look at, and when you look at it, is like we are missing this one, and we also are missing the input field. So the first thing we need to do is to actually build that. So at first, like very quickly, you can quickly see that you can like you have one element here, one element here, but like both are in the same kind of element. And like if you take the whole thing, everything in there is also its own thing. So what you can already see is that you have like one main div for everything, and then you have another one for everything here, and then in there you have two for this one and this one, and then in this one you also have other stuff. So we won't go too much into it because that's not the goal for today. But like just to show you like how you need to think about when you actually get a design file and how you have to try to componentize, if I can say that, the app. So okay, let's go into the HTML. And so the first thing we are going to need is to add our main thing here. So we first start with a section. Like, by the way, guys, do you want like, do you want me to copy paste things, or do you want me to go along and coding?
Yeah, code along for me.
Okay. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so the first thing we need is a section to match the CSS. I'm going to give it an ID of board. Yeah.
Can you increase the font size a bit?
Yep. Good. Okay, maybe a bit less.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. And so we saw already. So we have the board, and then we have two different kind of section as well. We have so on the left we have the information, and on the right we have the inputs. So it's exactly what we are going to do. So this is L for Lambda. Up. Okay, if you have any question about this, let me know, but I think it's pretty straightforward. You can look, you can try to do it on yourself, on your own, while I'm doing it, by watching the design and trying to match it on your HTML. So yeah, on the left we have the info, and so we have a square. If you look at it, we have a square here, and then like you can be like defined. So we have this thing as one, and then we have two blocks, one on the left, one on the right, and then we have two new blocks. And so like our HTML can match that very easily. And we are going to do that. So now we are on the right. So the Lambda and the after hours and the Lambda.
No, I think to save you time, when you type dots, just enter a new line, you type dots, the class name, and hit enter, it creates the div automatically.
Like this?
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. Yep.
Yeah, it saves you time.
Yeah, good one. Like I've seen a lot of people using it, but I never actually implemented it in my routine. So what Jose Maria just said is that instead of like writing one by one, like the div and everything, you can actually do you can do a class directly. And so, for example, this time I need an ID. Okay, yeah, no, that doesn't work this time, but at least I have the div, and so now I can just add the different. So now we are on the right. So actually, if I refresh already and we look at our thing, we already have the after hours on the left. Like it's not magic. There is already all the CSS in there. So that's supposed to work like that if I haven't made any mistakes. So for now, all good. I'm gonna, yeah. So it's only for class, Jose Maria?
Yeah, I think, okay, seriously, I've only seen it work for class and then on div.
Just use a hash key, like you would for IDs and
okay.
SSL.
Okay, I'm probably gonna look at some shortcuts afterward then.
Yeah, you can just use like a hash instead of a dot for the div.
Yeah, for div, for IDs.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
it works for ID too.
Okay, so now we are adding the inputs and the button. The button we give it ID of add task, and we pass in a plus to have it. Up. So I do think I've missed something. Okay, so those are IDs. Okay, let me just copy paste what I've just done. Just to make sure, like nothing should change, but just to make sure. Yeah, okay, probably made a typo somewhere. Okay, so are we all good here? I will just push it to up. Up. So I'm on after hours, so I'm good. Yeah, okay. Okay, so you should be able to get everything I've done from now. Okay, let's go back. So now we have this, but as you can see, like right now, nothing is working. So the first thing we need to do is to make sure it's working. So any ideas on how, like, what can I do to actually make something appear, and how can we check it first that it works?
Maybe like add an event listener to the button.
Mm-hmm. And like, what's the best way or the shortest way to just make sure that my event listener is working?
And then just like do a console log or something.
Yep, exactly. So for this specific thing, I do alert, because the console, the alert is directly on the screen, and so it's a bit more helpful. But yeah, console log is exactly the same. And I'm actually going to put the console right here, so we all see it. Okay, so let's go to our app.js and work from there. Okay, so we need to add an event listener to it. So first we need to find where is my my actual button. And so if we look at it, we have button ID of add task. And so we are going to take this and create an event listener on this. So the first thing we need to do is make sure we actually are able to access it. So we are going to do document get element by ID. You can do query selector and do it like this. I'm not sure if there is any difference on that one. So then add task. So now that you have it, you want to add an event listener to it, and like, because it's a button, we want to add a click event onto it. And here, because we want to do stuff with it, we want to have a callback, and with that, we want to make sure it's working. So we are going to do alert. Yay. So should it work? Yeah, it seems like it should. Let's refresh, and yay! So we have added. So for like what we have done, like we selected the ID where the button is, and then we added an event listener onto it, a click event listener onto it with the add event listener, and we passed a function that actually just doing alerts right now. So we are going to remove it, and just to make sure it's working, we are going to keep a custom log. Okay, so next thing we need is we need to actually have the information in the input, because right now if I do this, like I've added, but I don't have the value in there, and so I'm not able to actually get any information out of my input field. So the thing we need to do is to actually check what's in the input value and take it and display it. So before we display it and before we actually like make it works, we have to again make sure the actual document and like actual query for it is working. So we are going to do a console log first. So I'm just going to create a value to actually store the value. And so like if we look at where is input, we have an ID called task value. So we are going to select that as well. So same process as before, document get elements by ID, task value, and then here we don't want to add any event listener, we just want the value out of it. Do you know, does anyone want to know how like the HTML attribute for input to get the value?
Dot value, is it?
Yep.
Yeah, dot value.
Exactly. So, and so now we are just going to
No, it changed to node value.
Oh yeah, good one. Thanks, Rosemaya. Up. Okay, so let's just make sure. Equals. Yay! So we got the value. So first, like you see, I didn't try to add or create a magnificent to-do list on the first try. You might want to do that to impress on a stage or whatever, but we are not, like we are a developer learning. So go step by step. You saw how like I wrote like 4 lines and 2 are actually console logs. So that's super important. Like just make sure you don't have problems. So now this one is not useful anymore, and I know I have it. And this one, like I want to do it. I want to do something with task value. So task value, like what do we want to do with that value? So now we have the value of the input field. Like we have a click event listener on the bus, but it's a to-do list. So what we want to do with the value? What's actually like if you look at my ideas, they are called add task and task value. So what should we do now?
We should.
I think we should start creating boxes.
Yeah. So so now we are going to make sure we can actually display it. So the first thing we are going to do is make sure we can actually display it. So before going into the beautiful HTML and CSS that we are going to go around right after, we are just going to add a small place where we can actually get it. So below section, we are going to have, let's just do a P tag with an ID of for now, just to try it out. Okay, so now like we don't have much, and so like right now this doesn't do anything except of console login, but we do have now the value of that value. So now the thing we have to do is create a function to add it. So is what we are going to do. Do you want me to show you, or like you want to try on your own for like 2-3 minutes?
Yeah, that might be a good idea. Maybe
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So let's try to. So now I'm going to do a git push. Just try to create a function where you actually get the value, so everything on there, and get the value on the screen in the ID to do. Let me push everything on the repo. Okay, and if you guys have any question, please let me know. I will just put this, and so here I'm just going to create the actual. Actually, like let's create a p tag here, and I'm going to create a div here. So you put the value into a p tag.
Yeah. I got mine working.
Awesome. We'll wait for let's let other people to be able to work at it. Are you guys, all of you following along, coding along? Awesome. I'm going actually to add to help you a bit. Actually, the last two are basically the same. Okay, Martin, do you want to share your solution on Slack?
Okay, sure.
Share it on Slack, and I will copy paste it directly into the code. Yep.
I just
thank you.
it,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay.
So you would have to call the function within the where we added the event listener to add tags. That's what I did.
So you have something here as well?
Yeah, so maybe after line 9.
Okay.
You can add tags, and then you put the tags value in there.
Not sure what you mean. Can you repeat?
So on line 10, I called the function I just created.
Yep. Okay.
And then I assigned the value of tags value as a variable.
Yep. Okay.
Yes.
And so
and then tags value. Yes.
Exactly. Okay. So let's see if it works. What about you guys? Do you think it will be working? Oh, there's my. I think I didn't restart my server. Sorry about that. Yay! So what are we done here? So I'm going to change it a bit because like afterwards there's other stuff coming, but that's great. So what Martin did is that he created a function called add task. He passed it an element to make sure he can actually pass the task value that we actually got here. Then he created he actually make sure he got the to do place to actually to put it, and then he just did to the field text content and add the text to it. So that's great here. The only thing, and that's what you miss, I think, is that this is not a p tag. I don't think so. Let's look at the code. Yeah, you see? So it's not a p tag. And so basically, like for SEO purposes in other, like it's not very good. However, the logic is here. And so great job. I'm just going to pass what I have. Actually, let me just redo it. That's perfect, Martin. So just to make sure I have like what I have afterwards. So here, if you look at them, if we look at how the actual to do is made, like inside we have like, so this is one thing, and into it like we have this text, but we also have this. So what we need to do is create a container to it. We need to create this, and then we need to add to this container, we need to add the actual value, but also the trash can. So for to ease the process, it's a cross, but that's the idea. So the first thing we are going to do is make sure we actually are able to see it on the screen. So now we have checked that it's working, and we are good to go. And now we can just make sure like everything is working. Okay, so let's go back to the HTML. I'm going to pass it down because I don't think. Or do you want me to code it along? I'm looking at the time, 7:42.
Black as well then.
Copy.
Yeah. Okay. I don't think this one is that important. Okay. Okay, let me just show you. Let's just check if it's working. Okay. That's not working, and that's not working. So, but already you can see something here. Okay, let me actually get it to you. Okay. So you should be able to get it. So the first thing we see here is that when you actually take it, it's already like draggable, and like we haven't wrote anything in JavaScript. like you can put it anywhere. Oops. But it's already draggable. And this thing is actually interesting, is this one. So it's an attribute, it's an HTML5 attribute that you can add to the actual task or stuff you want to be able to drag. And you do draggable equal true. And so what that enables you, let me just comment it out. Up. That's also a line. Up. Just to show you. So now I've deleted it, and now you will see that I'm not able to do it anymore. Okay, so just this small line up enables me to already have some kind of drag and drop functionality, or at least the beginning, or at least the feel of it. So I think it's a good start already. But if you look at it, like right now like we have removed it, so nothing works anymore. But we are going to look at the task to make sure like we understand how it's built. So then we can actually build it from the JavaScript. Okay, so let's look at it. So so we have we have a columns sections. So I guess you got it. So there is 4 columns with something called drop zone. We'll see afterwards what that stands for. There is no semantic. It's just me that I call it drop zone. And then we have a title, backlog, to do, review, done. And for this one, I've added like a sample to do, just to show you like what we need to build. So we need to, so it's a list. So to make sure it's semantic, we are not going to use a div, we are going to use a list. And so inside of it, so you are going to add another list, and then each items have a li tag. And so inside there, we are going to leave a class of task content with the content, and the trash can. So right now it's just a X, but afterwards you can add the trash can as well from the design. Any question on it? Oh, good. Okay, let's go a bit quicker. So the first thing we need to do. So if we look at, let me try to the boss here. Yeah. So we need to add. So we need a list. So this exists, and then we need to append a list item, and we need to create this. And so we need to create a list. We need to create 2 div, and we need to pass the content for each to do, and we need to pass the trash. Okay, so let's just get started. So the first thing we need to create is just make sure we actually have the task that we like, the old task. And so we are going to do document.create element. And the first one we need is li. So it's the first one we are going to create. Then, like as you can see here, we need to add a class of task and a class of field. So we are going to do that. So we take the task, we add, we use class list, and then we do add, and then we do task, and then we do the same for field. Like I tried to do this directly, but that didn't work. So not sure why, but I need to do it twice. And so now we also need on this, we also need this attribute. So how can we add an attribute in JavaScript.
Set attribute.
Yes. So we add the set attribute. So like there is no set attribute draggable. So you set attribute take two parameters. The first one is actual attribute, and the second one is the value. So we are going to do draggable and true. Let's take
and then Maxine.
Yeah.
Yesterday on one of the stretch goals, I was researching on some of these things, and I think we can also do tax.draggable equals to true, and it should work.
Yeah. Can you repeat again?
I said we can also do tax.draggable.
Okay, like
yes.
This?
Tax.draggable, yes, equals to true.
Yeah,
yes.
Let's try it out.
Yeah, it should work as well.
Nice.
The true should be string.
No, it's fine. No, it's fine.
No, yeah. I think it's a Boolean, so should recognize it.
That's a Boolean.
Okay. Yeah. So and then so the like what we need to do. Let's before like I've actually went too fast. Let's do a console log to make sure we actually have the right thing. We're actually creating, so it should be okay. Okay, looks good. Looks good. I'm going to put it at the top. Okay, so next we need to create this div and add it to the list. So I'm going to continue writing down as I speak. So yeah, let's task context content. Excuse me. Equal document that creates elements. It's a div. Up. I'm going to use that again for the next one. So we are going to call it. So there is a content and the trash. So let's call it trash. So it's also a div. Up. Okay. And so now, again, we need to add the task content as a class. So task content class list, add task content. And then we need to actually pass the value. So where do we actually get the value from?
From the input field.
Yeah, and so like where like
tax value.
Tax value the
Yep. So we are going to actually to, so we want to, so you have to think it when you in JavaScript, like you don't take it something and you put it, you actually, you look at where you want to put it and you take the thing you want to put it and you append it to it, or like you add it to it. So the first thing we need to do is to make sure we have task content. And so here, up, yeah. Let me close this one. Better, Ari?
Yes, perfect, thanks.
Okay, sorry about that. So we can go in text or in inner HTML and task volume. So yeah, let's just make sure we are right. Let's just console log task content just to make sure we are actually doing something good here. Up, task before initialization, add task. So what does that mean?
You actually did the console log before declaring task, I think.
Yep. And so you have to be cautious, like you will see afterwards, like there is also one where you will have to clear it. And this is where like the console log, so here like it created a problem, but it's also where it's actually very helpful. So up. Excuse me about that. So like we can see we have the task content, and so we are good to go. So I have a problem with my browser, but that's something else. So let's not care about that for now. Okay, so we have it. It's working. So let's continue again. So if we look at the trash, we have a class of trash. So let's add the class list to it. Excuse me. Up, add trash, and then up, typo. So now that we have that, well, like what do we need to do? And actually, let me just add the X, like we need the X here. Like here, this is where you should pass the actual image. Okay, so now that we have that, what should we do?
Append the element to the DOM.
Yeah, and in which order? Like, do we add it one by one? Like, how should we do that? Like, if we look at the actual task and how it looks like. Like, where should we start?
The list
Well, we start by attaching the task to the task itself, to the UL, to the li to the UL, and then within it the two divs, right?
Yeah, so add it in the other way. So you add, basically think about like you don't want, I'm not sure, like it doesn't make much difference, but like you don't want to deliver something that's not ready and then build on top of it while you are sending it. I'm sure this is in milliseconds, but what I've seen is that you want to actually add the elements to the overall container and then add the container to DOM. And so the first thing we need, so where we need to add it, we want to add the elements of content and trash to the task. So we do task, and then how can we add an element in JavaScript?
Append child or append.
Yep. And so we do task content and trash. Okay, so now we have that. Great. And so where do we want to? So should we do now? So we have task. Should we do task? And so no, like basically what we want to do right now is something.
Parent, we can see. Right?
Excuse me?
Can we do like task.parent append child and then we append the, or it doesn't matter?
No, so so now like we already have the li element here, like the task is already here. And so now if we actually console log right now, it's ready to go. It's ready to go, it's fully built, and it should look nice. But now we have to like append it somewhere. And so what I wanted to, so if we look at it, this is exactly how we wanted it. And so, but first what we want to do is basically what I said before is that like you want to find a location, like kind of a drop zone, and then add your element to it. So right now what we want to do is something, and we want to do append child and task, right?
Yeah.
And so we need that something. So how can like where do you want to put it?
In the task, so you have to sort of
the UL.
Yeah, exactly. So we want to put it here. So again, like we'll do the same as before. Like here we are going to create something very simple. We're going to do tasks and document get element by ID, and I called it task added. Tasks added. Okay, and so now like we have the actual place of where we want to put it, and so now we just have to append to the place we want to put it. And so because it's a list, like where will it put it? What's append child does here? Will it put it before or after the current one? So we have already
at the end of the list.
Yep.
At the end, that's after the first. At the end of the list.
Not sure why my browser is bugging right now, but let's try to continue. Okay. Hello. Yay! And so, like, I encourage you. I don't know if I can say that in English. I push you to build small apps like this, because like right now you are doing it with me, so you are following along, and you seems like you haven't did everything by yourself. But I push you to build small apps, to do apps, and other small apps, so you can actually see it working. Like I don't know, like the first time I did it, like a few months ago, like something like this, and I click the button and it works. Like it's a great feeling. And so you want to build small apps as you go on the side, on the evening and stuff like that, so that you work on your chops. And that's another topic that we talk about in our group, is that right now you are following like very precise project where you have very precise guidelines. And when you work on your own project, your guidelines are in your head and you have to figure out. And so you will build a lot of stuff in that way. And I think it's very, very cool. So yeah, so we have it. The only thing here, like I want to have it, so like nothing is working yet. Like we have the plus because the SCSS is already there. So now, like I want to add them, but I want to add them before. How can I do that? So we need to actually change my task append child into something else.
Yeah, the pre-timed method.
So up. I'm not sure if it's like this or not. Should I just do it like this?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, I actually found something else. I was looking at it, but I guess this one was way better. So there is also something called insert before, where you can actually select the place where you want to add it. I will let you look at it as well. In that case, that precision of wanted to add it at a specific position is not useful. and I guess your solution, Isaac, is better. And yes, I will push it to GitHub right now. Okay, and right after that, we'll take a 5 minutes break, and we'll get back to it to remove it and add a drag and drop. Okay, I'm going to push it, and let's do a 5 minutes break. And if you have any questions while on the break, please let me know. I'm not sure you will know it. Yeah, you are not going to hear it. Not sure if it's loud enough though. Not sure you hear it. It's not.
Yeah, that's really loud.
I won't sing for your sake. Maybe I can do it like this actually. Not. Any feedback so far on the lecture and what I could improve? Would you like to go faster, slower, or all good? Okay, silence means yes, I guess. Hopefully.
Probably everyone is away.
1 star, 1 star.
1 star.
1 star.
5 star.
Faster, 1 star.
Oh, faster. Oh, sorry.
1 star.
Okay. Going to take up. Okay. It seems like Benjamin isn't here yet. Okay. Let's continue. So great. We now have we now have our add task. So we don't need our sample. So I'm just going to uncomment it, comment it, to not say it anymore, and we should be able to add some. So there is none at the moment, and so we are going to add it. Oh, actually, we haven't covered that. So right now, like when we type, like the value is still there. Any ideas on how we should do that? So basically, this is task value, and task value when sent, we need to pass it here, but then we also want the input to clear out. But the task value is not task value anymore, so we don't need it.
Input clear.
Yeah, so but I won't spend too much time on this. Like simple thing I did is just select the same element as before, and just re-put the value to empty. And so when you actually submit, the task value will be empty afterwards. The thing we haven't covered yet is the bug. Is that if I add something right now, but there is nothing in there, like it add task to it. So we want to prevent that. So how can I do that?
If else statement.
Yeah.
Use an empty string, like don't pass in no value.
Yeah. Even simpler, like let's do, if there is task value, actually do it. If there is none, like don't do it. But Karin, you were right. That's exactly the logic behind it. There is just here. There is no like opposite. Like you just don't do it if there is nothing. Okay. So here, like we come to. So now we add something. If there is nothing, there is none. Like we could even do, like you said, Karim, if we do a ternary operator, we could do a small message saying behind it, below it, saying, "Hey, you need to add a text here to make sure you add a task." And so you could do it like this. Okay, and so yeah, how should we remove the task now? So great, we have a task, but I made a mistake and we haven't, we don't have the edit function yet. It's like Twitter, and we need to delete it. So how should I do it? Or how should we do it? Any idea? So first, there is actually an element here already ready for you to use to actually delete it. So what's the first thing I should do here? So first, we actually, do you want to go ahead and do it? Let's do it. I will give you 2 minutes and to create the remove task function. And so it's a bit simple, but actually not very hard for this one. And we also need something for the trash. Because we want to trigger it somewhere. And so we need something to listen to it. And so when we click on it, the remove task function actually runs. Someone wants to go ahead and help me write this one? So we need to listen. So I will just show you again. So we need to, when we have a task, we want to, oh yeah, because I have what happened? No, should be okay. Yeah. So when I click on this, it should be working. Anyone? James?
Yeah, we're just saying like add an event listener to trash.event listener.
Yep.
For the click event.
So yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's perfect. The only thing here that you don't need is that right now you are calling the function, and you want to let this, because like we are passing something here. And so in here, we want to actually do something about it. So we are going to pass an event to be able to actually, yes, yeah, we need. So we need to get the task. How can we do that?
Okay, please, before I forget, the closing bracket on line 31.
On which 31?
One? Line 31, the add event listener.
Good catch. Thank you, James. So yeah, we'll go a bit faster just to make sure. So we want to get the task, and we then want to remove it. But the problem is we want to remove it from somewhere. And so again, like we have to think about like, okay, we want to remove the task. So it's here. So when we are going to, yeah, because I'm writing right now, I'm writing it. But when we are adding a task, we have it. So when we click on it, we can actually get the element that is being clicked on, but we also want to remove it from somewhere. And for that somewhere is the actual list that it came from. So the first thing that we are going to do, we can call it list, we can call it task. We are going to take the value of where the task is, because if it's in this one, that's okay, but if it's this one, that's not the same. And so we want to check where it actually is. And so we want to do event. So this is the actual click event, and then targets. And so with that, we are able to actually access to it. And then we want to access it. And because because the X, the class is here, we want to take this, but this one is a list, and we don't need the list. We need the actual task. So we are going to do a parent node and then parent node again. And so if we look at that, there's something, yeah, something wrong. Like you see how ESLint wasn't very happy. So I just forgot. And so now that we have the place where we want to put it, we want to actually get the task and do the same. But we aren't going to do to go all the way. We just want to go to take just a list. And so now that we have that, we can actually remove the task. And so again, we get the place and then we get the thing we want to put there, or in that case, remove it. So the place where we want to remove it from is task. And then what we want to remove is task. Any question about that? Let's.
Yeah. I think we should be able, since we have access to the direct parent node, to the direct target parent node. I think we can remove it directly without actually doing task.remove child. Or is there any implication of doing that, like doing task.remove?
Yeah, so you do tasks, the child node.
No, not really. I mean, you have task.target.parent node, right? That's exactly what we have here before on line 47. Now, what I'm saying is this: on line 49, we did task.remove child. Then we're now passing the task as argument. But the task that we're passing as argument, task.remove, will actually remove the task from the DOM.
Yeah, actually, I think you are right. The only thing I'm worried about, no, because task, like if there is multiple tasks, like you won't know which task you are talking about.
What I'm saying is this: already we've grabbed the parent node with the event.target. That's the
So if I do this and I just do this, right?
Not really. Get my question. What I mean is this: bring the second line back. Sorry. I mean the let task, the one of event.target.parent node.
Yeah.
Once you bring it back, we just do task.remove, not really passing it in as an argument.
Just like this?
Yeah, but this shouldn't be task. I mean, let's have this as task, then remove the parent node, the last parent node. Yeah, then on this one, the last parent node. Remove the last parent node. Exactly. I think this should work.
Yeah, but the only problem is that. Okay. So I think the problem we will see later. We'll try to keep it like this way, but I think I had a problem with like when it was somewhere else. And let me try. Yeah, it seems to be working. So yeah, let's try it like this, and we'll see how it goes. Thank you, James. Okay, so now I think the part that's interesting for you, drag and drop. So I'm going to push what we have right now, and we are going to move on to drag and drop. Any questions so far? Nope. Okay, so drag and drop. I'm going to send you Mozilla drag and drop. Okay, so the first time I heard any was actually during a Tuesday project, like when you have to build 10 different ad event listeners. That's the first time I heard about drag and drop. And all the other one, when you look at them, for example, click is just click. There is no like sub events. And for this one, there is like a lot. And so I think this is where the confusion comes from. Like it's just not like you just don't just add drag and drop, like a drag and drop ad event listener and it's done. Like there is way much involved to actually build something. So we are going to look at how we can do this. So what we want to do, so the first thing we need is the HTML5 attribute draggable to be true. We already have that in our HTML, and we also do it well. We also add it in our JavaScript here. So the first thing we need to do is to create a variable to actually store the task. So the problem is like when there is like if I had only one task, like we could add a class or ID to it and just use that to make sure we have the right one. But when there are several, we have to make sure we are passing the right task. And so for that, we are going to use the event in JavaScript when we actually start the drag. And so the name is pretty easy on this one. It's called drag start. Drag start. Okay, so the first thing we are going to do is select the variable and create the drag start. Okay, so I'm just going to create a variable, like there's nothing here, just to all to actually like have a global variable that I can reuse everywhere afterwards. Not sure if this is the best way to do it, but this is how I did it. And so let me look at. Okay, so we have drag start. What else are available to us in the API? I've sent you the link, so it should be okay for you. What else is also available? Okay, drag in. So this is so actually let me put it here first. So the drag in, the drag start is used to like at the beginning, and so we need to make sure we add it to our task, because like if we don't add it on our task, we won't be able to use it. So how can we do that? So the task needs to have the drag start and the drag end event listener. So I guess I said a lot here, but okay. So basically, we need to come back to our add task and make sure that do have the event listener that we need. And so something we have to care. So this is a function. So I have a uppercase for the S, but for the other one, for the actual JavaScript event, there is no uppercase. So what you want to add is you want to add two event listener, one which is called drag start and the other one which is called drag end, to make sure like you can actually select the right task. So when you actually pick it up, you know which task you are talking about, and when you are putting it down, you know which task you are talking about. Okay. Now that we have this, we can actually do something with it. So the first thing, so what I've created is I created a class to make sure there is a kind of kind of effect on it. So you can look at it if you want. It's called old and just over on active. And so if I want to try it, I'm going to do event. Okay, let's actually pass an event to it. Target class, and so here don't want to do class list because I have to do oh, actually, yeah, I could do. But so what I did this, and you do plus equal hold, and so already it's a bit better. What I've done wrong. This is when like you want to check more often than you do. Yeah, I think this is.
I think drag end actually needs to be created. It could just be an empty function. I think it's because it's been passed.
Oh yeah,
event listener.
Yeah, I saw that I created it, but it was.
You have a plus as well in front of the class name.
Yeah, it's because
I think this is this one, because of dragon. So dragon as the add event listener of dragon, and actually like what I did not do, and I should, is just open the console on the right, and I'm sure we'll have seen the error very quickly here. Let me actually do it for the sake of it. And it's gonna say drag hand is not defined. Already be started up, and when I do this, no, okay, but whatever. At least we have a good idea of where the error is from. Okay, so it's working. And so what we have just added, we have added a class, and you see when I actually pick it up, there is some effect to it. Okay, fancy but not very useful. So now what we want to do is want to make sure we actually know the task and where it comes from, and are able to take it from anywhere and use it from anywhere. So we have created a global variable here that we want to access later on. So what we are going to do, we are just going to like add the actual event to the task. And so now we are not going to make the same error again. Let's console it, console log it. There is something wrong.
You have to drag it now for it to be.
Oh yeah. Thank you, Isaac. Okay. And yeah, so we see like we have what we want, and so now we can use it later on to actually put it somewhere else. And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, which is append. Okay, Jose Maria, see ya. Okay, so now that we have that, great. And so to do something else, it's also something for, so right now, when you do it, like you see, like when I do this, come on, let's go. When I take it, like the card is still behind. And so what what I created is I created a class called invisible with a display none. And so what we are going to do is we are going to put it. The only problem here is that if we put it directly, so if we do event target dot class name and we put it to invisible, what will happen?
The one you're dragging will go invisible, no? Yeah?
Yeah. So like, I probably have something here, but that's not very helpful. So what we want to do is like, we want to create, to make sure the invisible class is triggered right after. And so like, there's something like you can do. You can use a set timeout that you can use to do that. And you can just set it to 0. And so like once you took it and it's in your mouth, I guess, like it disappears from behind. So that's nice. And so like it looks better. Now the problem is like when I drop it, like it disappears. So we need to fix it. And so why don't I say it now? Like, so I've changed the class to invisible. So why don't I see it again? Like, well, what should I do to see it again?
And toggle the class off again, right?
Yep. So like we replaced it. So what we are going to do is we are just going to add the right class name to it. And so at the end of it, we are going to, and actually let me put just some console log just to show you like when the different events actually happen. Okay, so look at the console. I took it, start, and because like we put it back, the normal display, like, and it already looks kind of good actually, and you can see like how everything is firing as I take it and I drop it, not drop it, but end it. Okay, so now, so we have it. Any question about that first? And let me push it to GitHub. Any question about this? No question? Okay, let's continue.
I have one quick question. How do you come
Yeah,
up with
go
the
ahead.
solutions? Like, do you like just come up with them? Like, while you coding, you try different things and see how it works out, or?
Excuse me, can you repeat again?
Yeah, how you come up with the solutions? I mean, like for event listening, like you see doesn't drop, like you came up with a timeout thing to like let it disappear after like you drag it, and then when you drop it, like how you find those kind of solutions?
Yeah, to be honest, like I follow tutorials online. I looked at it, tried to copy it, and then I create my own. So that's not the first to-do list I created. And so this is how I went. So first you need to just create a to-do list where there's no drag and drop. So you understand it, and then you add to it each time. And so you look at the documentation here, and it's pretty straightforward. But I do think it's a bit, there are a lot of verbiage, and I don't think it's like it's good when you have a good understanding and you want to further your understanding. But my go-to resources is YouTube, and you just type drag and drop or drop and on YouTube or on other resources, and you will find example. And it's really how I go at it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. And to be honest, like I'm teaching you here tonight for the after hours, but 4 months ago, like I was in your position, so like I know what you are going through right now. Okay, so now we want to have make sure we want to put it to something else. So I've added something called drop zone. So there is no semantic to it. I'm just call them that. And so let's make sure we actually get them. So there are several drop zone. So we are going to call it drop zone, and we are going to do document query selector all. Why document? Okay, I guess you just don't want to give it to me. Okay, and let's just make sure we have it. So we should see a node list of four items. So that's why I guess
you need to put the dots before drop zone.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to use get element by class name, but that's not possible when you want to. Okay, so now we have our 4 columns, and we have a lot of stuff here. Like you can look more into it if you want. Okay, so now we want to. The first thing we need to do is make sure we do have event listener to the drop zones. So what we are going to do is we are going to add all the different event listener. So there is four drop zones. So how can we add event listeners to all of them?
For each?
Yep. So that's perfect answer. I use another one. In that case, it's just a simple for loops. And so in the meantime, I also create another variable called drop zone that I can reuse afterwards. And so now I can use the drop zone and add all the events to it. And so we have different events. We have the first one that is drag enter. And we are going to add a function to it. And then we have drag over, drag leave, and drag drop. I'll let you guys look at the MDN documentation if you want to look more at it. but I'm going to pass what I've already here. So we have drag enter, drag over, event, drag leave, and drop. And I've created four different functions to be able to play with it. Okay, so now the first one we are going to create is a drag enter, and so the thing here we want to do is so when actually let me just make it work, and then we'll go into make it a bit fancier. So let's go into make it in work. So what we want to do is make sure when we actually drop it, drag enter is not defined. Okay, let me check. Oh yeah, for sure. Okay, let me write down quickly all these functions. So the only one we actually need is, in that case, is drag drop. The other one are for fancier thing. Let's call it that. So basically what we want to do now is we want to use the events that we have that is saved in task to make sure we can actually drop it to the right place. So here, what we want to do is to make sure we actually pass event. And so, like, where is that event? If I do this, okay. So if I do this and I drop it here, what will I have? Like, what will be in the event of drop? In that case, in the drop function. So
the release of the mouse click.
Excuse me?
Releasing the mouse click.
Maybe where it was dropped.
Yep. So where it was dropped, and in that case, that's not actually. Let's look at where like how does like what's the event actually look like? Okay, and so it's not working here, and so there is a reason for that. Like I didn't understand that for a long time, and that actually put me like wasn't very good. Is that on drag enter or drag over? I don't remember. You have to add something to prevent the default behavior that actually prevents the drop to happen. Not sure why or how it works, but that's how it works. Okay.
I think your event listener for drag drop is just called drop.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's you mean here?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the actual name. I don't know why. Look, like everything is with drag except this one. Like
Yeah,
I don't know why. So now it's working. Up. So if we look at it up, where is it? So we have the drop. So it's working, and so now, so I think what I should do is I should just do around the target to show you. Yep. And you see, so I put it here, and so what I have is div class, drop zone, column title to do, and this is the actual place where I want it. Okay. And so in there, like I do have my other stuff that I need. And yeah, actually, so I'm looking at my HTML right now, and I think I should put a URL in there as well, but that's another topic. Okay, another thing I wanted to show you before we okay, console is how everything works. So enter. Over if, and we saw this one, but I just want to okay. And so you will just see like how everything is working. And I will let you look at the console here. So as soon as I take it, I go to start, and I also have an enter because I enter this one, and my over, like because I'm like it's continuing to fire, and as soon as I go one in one, like so I'm leaving the backlog, so I have a leave, but now I have an enter event that is triggered, going to do again and again and again and again. And so now when I leave it, I have the drop, and because I have console log where it's actually dropped, I can actually have it. And so now that you know like how everything works, let's make this happen. So now, like we want to actually drop, like add the actual event where we need it. And so to do that, how can we do it? So we know that event.target
append child
is actually the like the place where I want it. Yeah, Karim?
Append child, not to the event target.
Yep. So we can just do append in that case, but yeah.
Okay.
And we do the task because we have put as drag start, like the one we started from. We all did somewhere, and then we reuse it at the end. And so and you see like all the different events firing on the right. And so now, like, if you want to add a few things, and it's what I wanted to cover after, and we have 5 minutes left, is to just make sure everything looks good. And so I'm going to add a few things. So in the drag enter, so I've created a function. So this is how you add some styling to it. You use those functions, those different functions and those events to trigger at a specific time. And so, for example, we could use like the drag enter, like to actually show that this is a drop zone. Right now, like there is no visual difference to show that's a drop zone. And so when you enter, you want something to happen. And so what I've created is that I've added something called over, and you just adding. So when I add this class, you just add a dashed border. And so what I'm going to do is just add this actual class to the drag enter. And so I have a bit of logic here because I had some problem. But basically what you have to know is that we are adding the over class when we are entering into a drop zone. So when this is column drop zone, like add it to here, because if you don't make sure this is the only element you want to go over, like you can go over all the page and the class name over will be applied. And so you only want it to be applied to the actual element you want. And in that case, that's so why did I put it somewhere? Drag enter. Let me look. Tag it. Drag enter. Yeah, not sure about that. Okay. Let me copy what I have for the other one. And so same for leave. So here, what I want is to like put it back. So when it's column drop zone, I want to put it back. And for the drag drop, they're the same. Like I want to put it back as well. Not sure why it doesn't work.
The plus in front of the class name is like a syntax error, or is just if you see like in the drag enter on top, yeah, on line 81 after class name, you have a plus and equal hover.
Yeah, that's normal. I want to add it to it.
Okay, you know.
Okay, I'm not sure here. Might be a small mistake. Let me. Oops. And it should be working here. Okay, so I think might have a problem in the HTML. So I might have forgot something somewhere. Let me Let's pass it here. Okay. Yeah, not sure of what I've done. That seems like there is a small hiccup. Is my Let's Watcher still running? Yeah. Okay, so yeah, not sure. I will have to check it. Sorry about that. But the final project is here. And do you have a question about the project?
Have you pushed your final changes?
Okay, so I think like yeah, no, that's actually what I had in mind. I thought I did something else. Yeah, I'm going to push what I have. However, this is like you can look at the solution. So on the master branch, and you will see what we have just done right now.
Thanks.
See ya, James. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you were able to follow along and code along. Hope that helped. Having like going through the process of building a small app. There is not much here. I think we covered like a lot of different like the way how you target elements and add to it and add the class to it and stuff like that, which you will be using again and again and again. In React is a bit simpler, but like you have seen it how you can do it in JavaScript. And you also have seen how drag and drop works. From what Rui told me and someone else, it seems it's not working on Firefox. So I will have to check that. You can have some stretch goals if you want. So there is a small search on the top. So you can try to make it work. And right now there is no archive. So for example, you can add an archive button and create a 5th column and try to archive on, like, when you click on it, you don't actually delete it, but append it to the new column, which is archive. That can be a great stretch goals. Like you can do it after your code challenge tomorrow, if you feel confident, and I will be also happy to help you in that case. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Any questions, and I will let you go.
No, but very good. Good, thank you.
Awesome.
Same, thanks.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, have a good evening. Rest well for tomorrow challenge, and yeah, good night.
All
See
right.
you guys.
Good night, Maxim.
Maxim.
Nice.
It
was cool.
Nice.